Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. So, to all those participants who are here on Zoom, so we are now live on Facebook. So, keep on sharing the live of Rise 12 Days of Christmas. So, it's on the Rise page on Facebook. Thank you.
Welcome to day 8 of the Rise 12 Days of Christmas, our way of celebrating you and thanking you. I'm Nick, and with me is Joy. We are your hosts for this evening.
Hello, Nick. Hello, everyone here in Zoom and everyone joining us on Facebook Live. So, first, allow me to introduce Rise to you. We are a high speed fiber internet service provider for businesses. And if you want to find out how we can help your business, please visit us at rise.ph or reach out via facebook.com/upgrade to rise. And who knows, I might just be the person to help you out.
While you're on rice.ph, you might also want to check out the learning resources and FAQs page. These pages contain useful information not just about Rice and the services we offer, but about the internet too. We also created a work from home series, seeing as it might be relevant and useful for many of us who've had to adjust to this new setup due to the pandemic. In it, we've touched on using this time and opportunity to upskill like many of us have. Another person who has seen the opportunity to help those interested in upskilling, especially in technology, is our guest for this evening.
So, before we introduce our speaker, let's have a quick recap of how the 12 days of Christmas has been so far. So, we've done dance yoga, and then exercises, learned to bake cookies and brew coffee, and we also have been enlightened on what it takes to be a plant parent and a new investor. So, and been introduced to some Japanese holiday traditions as well. So, we've also given away a variety of things from plants to cake to Japanese language books. If this got your attention, make sure to stick around to find out what you can win this time.
Everyone will surely feel like a winner after today's session, Joy. I'm happy to introduce our next session. It's time to get techie and crack the code. Our instructor for tonight is known as the Pambansang IT guy on YouTube. He will teach us the basics of HTML coding. He aims to eliminate cyberphobia in the country. His YouTube page is filled with how to videos that cater to a wide variety of people with different uses of technology, from tech noobs learning the basics of the different Google apps to teachers looking for ways to adapt to virtual teaching. He's no stranger to teaching and conducting webinars such as tonight's Crack the Code session. We're so excited to welcome our guest for tonight, Joshua Domen of DICT.
Hi, Nick and Joy. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Josh. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Josh.
Merry Christmas, and also to our viewers. Or also, we are. I know we are live on Facebook, right? So, good evening to all of you. Happy Wednesday night.
That's correct, Joshua. I'm pretty sure there are some of our viewers that would be uh, are really excited to hear your session for tonight.
Yes, I know. So for tonight, I know last night our viewers were yogis. So for tonight, we are gonna wear our techie hats, and I am excited to teach you and to share to you um, how we can actually create a website from scratch. So others might think that this might be hard or what, but to tell you, this is actually fun. So this is the HTML coding for beginners. So for those who have an extra laptop there, or if you have an extra device, we will do a live coding later. So you can make use of your laptops. You can go and follow with me as I do the demonstration. All right. So can I start now, Nick, or are there other announcements?
Sure, go ahead, Josh.
All right. So thank you very much, Nick. Enjoy. So before I proceed with the demo, I'd like first to introduce to you what HTML is. So um, HTML stands for the Hypertext Markup Language, and it is abbreviated as HTML. It is the standard markup language for documents designed to be displayed in a web browser. Now, the current version of HTML is HTML5. And so we have made mention of web browsers, right? So, of course, I think you all know what web browsers are. They receive HTML documents from a web server or from local storage and render the documents into multimedia web pages. So, I don't want to give you some headache of knowing what the technical meaning of these terms are, but I'll give you some examples. We have Opera, we have Google Chrome, we have Safari for Mac OS users, we have Mozilla Firefox, and I think we don't have Internet Explorer now. My slides are not updated, but I think Internet Explorer has already transitioned to being or to rebranding into Microsoft Edge. So these are web browsers. And there is a question on whether HTML is a programming language. Now, the main difference between markup language and programming language is that a markup language defines a set of rules for encoding documents in a format that is both human readable and machine readable, while a programming language provides a set of commands and syntax that can be used to write computer programs which are understood by the computer. But both are actually um, computer languages. So to put it in a nutshell, markup languages are easier to understand, especially for the common people, those who have no um, technical background or that a hardcore ICT background. Um, Programming language is quite might put a lot of headache for others who do not or who those who could not understand such. So that's what I'm saying, that HTML is actually fun because you can easily see how interactive these things are. Now, a markup language is a type of language used to annotate text and embed tags in accurately styled electronic documents, irrespective of computer platforms, operating systems, and applications or programs. On the other hand, Programming language is a language that provides a set of rules, syntax, and commands to write computer programs that implements algorithms. Now, um, and to put this in a nutshell, HTML is quite flexible. So regardless if you open an HTML document in a Microsoft operating system or in a Mac OS, if you are Apple users, there is no issue for the flexibility or for the compatibility because it can run to both. But for programming languages, there are certain restrictions. One programming language might not play or run into an operating system without having to install um, something or an application or a tool. So in HTML, it's as good as it's a good to go, or it could run, or it is compatible to either architectures. Now, coding in HTML is also synonymous to web programming. All right, so make yourselves ready because at the end of the night, you will become web programmers because it is our objective for tonight that you will be able to code your first website, or perhaps we have here viewers who have known of HTML quite some time. Perhaps it is in their high school years or their ICT subjects in their college years. So this might serve as a refresher for you. Let's go and let's do this. But let us first differentiate HTML versus XML and versus XHTML because there are actually some misconceptions about these three terms. There is one term that is commonly mistaken for this term. So here is some clarification. So HTML is used to create the structure of a web page, while XML stands for Extensible Markup Language, and the tags of XML are used to store and organize data. So it is a platform and language independent, and XML helps to share data between completely different platforms. So it is used with databases, programming languages, and mobile applications. While we also have XHTML, which stands for Extensible Hypertext Markup Language, and it is actually a combination of both HTML and XML. So XML parser are used to parse these XHTML documents. um, the common denominator between these three is that they are all markup languages. So let's reserve our technical terms for that. I don't want to give you some headache in understanding the nitty-gritty of these technical terms, but I just want to give some clarifications about these three concepts. Now, the original language of the World Wide Web is HTML. All those sites that you access, Facebook, YouTube, and everything else, the foundation of such is actually the HTML. And if you were to ask me, would I recommend hardcore HTML coding, which we'll be doing later to develop websites? My answer and my honest answer will actually be no, because we have a lot of programs and tools to actually develop websites. We don't have to, we don't have to spend all the night coding and encoding our HTML tags to create or to develop a website. We actually have some applications and tools that are available, and most of these applications or tools are actually free. What differs between these applications and HTML coding is that you just have to drag and drop um, your items, your objects into these applications, and they will automatically generate your codes. But in HTML coding, you will be the one creating from scratch your code. So we have examples like the first logo we have there is the Microsoft Publisher. Um, yes, Microsoft Publisher can be used to develop websites. Then we also have Adobe Dreamweaver. This is also a fun tool or an application to develop websites. The third one, any guess? This might not look familiar to you, the third logo, but this is actually the logo of Google Sites. That is actually not so new, but it is a recent development from Google, which is now part of their Google Workspace. Before it was G Suite. So you can create your own website by using Google Sites. Then we also have the CMS, the three logos that you see underneath the first three. These are actually content management systems, and these are widely used. The first one is WordPress. And perhaps you have heard of WordPress. Actually, our government sites, I am actually, my full-time work is at the Department of Information and Communications Technology. And what we actually recommend in developing your websites for LGUs, for NGAs, is actually WordPress. Then we also have Joomla, the fifth logo that you have there. And then we also have Drupal, another CMS. So these six are part of the most widely used applications to develop websites. So if you were to ask me um, if I recommend to really do hard coding in developing websites or in creating websites, my honest answer is no, because we have these applications ready and available for you to use. So you don't have to have a lot of headache in coding your website, because we have these applications. But if you were to ask me, would I recommend learning hardcore HTML coding to develop websites, given that we have those? We have WordPress, we have Drupal, we have Joomla, and we also have Adobe Dreamweaver and the very easy to use Google Sites. My answer is, of course, yes, because as we go back to the definition of HTML, the original language of the World Wide Web is HTML, and no matter how we do a lot of development and we create innovations in creating website, we will always go back to our foundations. That is why even if you develop your websites using WordPress, there is a part there that you have to code, or you have to change modifications in the HTML tags that are there inside your CMS or your content management system. So um, I would suggest and I would highly recommend that before you actually get into the easy applications for you to develop websites, it is but fitting and proper that you know the basics of HTML, because once again, the original language of the World Wide Web is HTML, and we will always go back to our foundations. So for tonight, what programs do we use? Josh, what do we need to install so that right now we can go with you, or we can go with the flow in you demonstrating how to create your websites? So we only have two. We need two applications, and I believe that all of you have this already. Factorily installed already or pre-installed in your system. One, we have to have your web browser. I think most of you use Google Chrome or Firefox. No one uses Internet Explorer anymore, although they have improved a lot in terms of transitioning to Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Edge is really far from the Internet Explorer that we knew before. So that's one. We need a web browser, and we also need a notepad. Those are the only two applications that we have to have in order for us to code our HTML for tonight. Okay? You might ask, are there other alternatives into Notepad? Because I like aesthetics. I could not survive using Notepad because it only has white and black colors in its interface. I want to be, I can work only with a colorful theme. So I suggest if you still have time, you can actually install Sublime Text. That is also a text editor. So Notepad is also a text editor. But if you also want a higher level of Notepad, we also have Notepad++. You can also make use of such text editor. But regardless, you can still, and we can still create an HTML document, a website, or a web page using Notepad. So for tonight, we will be using Notepad for the benefit of um, those who would really know the basics of HTML coding. So we will really start from scratch. All right. So before I begin, let me tell you the parts of an HTML code. So an HTML code is actually called a tag. So later on, as we go, I will explain this further. But as you can see in your screen right now, this is actually the backbone or the parts of a certain tag. Um, all tags begin and end with an angle bracket. So as you can see, um, we have angle brackets here on the left and the right. Um, Most of our tags actually have opening and closing tags. So if there is an opening tag, so for this example in the screen, this is the A tag, it must have a partner closing tag, which is the /A tag. Okay. So once again, we have opening tags and closing tags. So most of our tags in an HTML document have the opening and closing tags, although there are also some tags that do not require a closing tag. Okay. So as you can see, A is the tag name. That is the umbrella or the generic name of the tag. Then after that is a space that separates it from the attribute name. So every tag, so for this example, A, has its counterpart attribute name. And each of these attribute name has its own functions in modifying or customizing what you want that tag to appear, or for that elements inside such tag to appear. Now it is followed by an equal sign, and then what follows next is the attribute value, the value for that attribute that is enclosed by open and closing quotation marks. All right. So that is the example. That is an example of the opening tag. What follows the opening tag? That one after the angle bracket, that one that says link to Wikipedia, that is actually our element content. And what you see in a web page is only the element content. You don't see those tags, you don't see those HTML codes. You cannot see that because it is your computer and your browser who interprets and reads such codes or such tags, and they will only our browsers will display what you want to intend to. Okay, so between those opening and closing tags is the element content. Such content is what can only be seen in your browsers, what can be seen by your naked eye. Okay, so I won't keep you waiting. We will now do our coding. So let me share my screen. So I hope you can see my desktop. So this is my desktop, and I really want to start from scratch in creating your HTML document. So how do we do it first? First, of course, you have to create your folder where you will be doing your project or your web page. So in my case, I'm gonna create a folder named my first HTML. Right. So I hope for those who are following, um, please bear with me if I am fast or I am slow. But I really hope that you can follow. Okay. So you can actually name your folder according to your preference. It doesn't matter if what the name of your folder is. If you stick to the default name, which is new folder, okay, go ahead. There is no problem with that. Now, um, as we um, as we go to the folder, we have to create another folder, and it must be, by this time, it is a must that you name such folder as public. All right. Once again, you have to name such folder public. So regardless if your umbrella folder is named my first HTML or new folder, for as long as the main subfolder inside is named public. All right. Here in the public, this is where we are gonna save all our HTML documents, all our files. Okay. Um, Now you have to access your notepad. There are two easy ways, of course. The first one is you run your notepad from your Explorer, or you can actually do, right click and new um, text document. So it's up to you. So I've already opened my notepad, and so it's crunch time already. We have to begin our coding. Okay, so I'm gonna change the font first so that everyone can see. Okay, so here's how to do your HTML, your web page. Okay, first um, we have to code in our basic HTML tags. So without these tags, your page might not run. So these are a must for you to include. You may not include other elements. You may not include other contents, but it is a must that you include this. So first is the HTML tag. As you can see, there is um, there is a partner closing tag. So this is the opening tag, which is HTML, and the closing tag is slash HTML, okay, or forward slash HTML. Now inside the HTML tag, um, there is another basic tag or fundamental tag that you have to include, and that is the head tag. And it is also partnered by the closing head tag. So as you can see, I have indented, no? I actually hit my tab key. Although this is not necessary or this is not required, but for some programming principles for clarity and readability, I intentionally did it this way. But regardless, if I didn't put spaces there, it will still run. Okay, your web page will still run. Okay, then after that is the third fundamental tag, which is the body. So it is written or it is encoded after the head tags and inside the HTML tag. So as you can notice, our HTML tags are our umbrella tags. So everything must be included inside this HTML opening and closing tags. You cannot write a tag after HTML or before HTML. So everything or all other tags must be included inside the umbrella HTML codes or HTML tags rather. Now, during our time, years ago, these are already okay. I mean, these are the fundamental tags. But right now, for HTML5, it is required that you include this tag. This actually tells actually the computer that this is an HTML document, especially for HTML5, no? Because there are some browsers that may not read the code. So although there are some browsers that can still read this without this tag. Okay. So, but for purposes like we have to follow what is the trend, then we have to include and indicate this tag. Although these tags can already run without having this. Okay. Now, next is some programming principles say that every time you create your very first program or your very first code, you have to display the term "Hello World." So that is why even in my YouTube channel, I greet my viewers with "Hello World" because it is um, a custom or it is a culture already by programmers to to display first "Hello World" in all other programming languages. The very first task or the very first assignment is to display "Hello World." Okay, so basically this is the fundamental tags with the content. So my browser must not read or must not display these tags, okay, but only this "Hello World" content. Okay, as the browser and as the computer interprets and understands my code, they will not displaying those that are in angle brackets because they are tags and they are meant to be read as the source code, but rather they will display the content inside the body. And so how do we save this? Of course, just like we do usually or normally, we have to save it, but we should locate our public folder to where it is located. So as you know, I created my folder in desktop, although you can create your folders in your Drive D or in your backup folder, it is okay. But for this time, I am saving it in the desktop. So remember that my umbrella folder is my first HTML, so I'm gonna choose it and I'm gonna click the subfolder, which is the public, and I'm gonna save it as index. So the very first the home page that you call is actually the index page. So it is a must that you will always name your file index, although it is not actually necessary, no. But for the standards that we have to follow, we should name our very first page, our home page, as index. And before saving it, if you would notice, if I save it directly, just like this, as we go back to our folder, there is a notepad. Okay? But the proper way of saving it is actually to save it as an HTML document. So you have to include the format, the file format that it should be, which is .html. Diba? We have pictures that are in .jpeg or JPEG format. We have images that are in .gif format. But these are actually images, .png. So in this case, as a web page, as an HTML, we have to save it as .html. So actually, Notepad is very powerful text editor. You can There are even some famous computer viruses that are made just through using Notepad. So do not underestimate Notepad because Notepads are actually powerful. Okay, so once we save it as index.html, as we look at our folder, there is now another file in which the logo or the bitmap is the web browser, because we saved it as an HTML. So I can actually already delete this index notepad that I created, and let us focus to our main homepage. So um, we created it in Notepad, but it was saved into an HTML file. So once I click on this, my default browser will open, and we now have our very first web page. And as you can see, what is displayed is hello world. All other tags like HTML tag, head tag, and body tag are not displayed. I'm gonna zoom it in so that you can see. Because the browser and the machine only interprets the element contents and not the tags. All right, so that is our very first um, web page. So you can modify it. So say for example, what if I accidentally closed my notepad, the one where I am editing my code, and so I could not find it anymore. What I only see is the file, the HTML file, that when I open, of course, it opens through the browser or through Google Chrome. So in order for you to be able to edit the same source code, you just have to right click on such file, and you have to open it with, of course, the text editor that you are using, which is Notepad. So once you click on it, um, the the source code, the editable source code opens. So in every web page, actually, in every website, there is a source code. So for Google Chrome, as you can see, when you right click on your page, there is a view page source. So it actually displays your HTML code. So if you could imagine the code that Facebook or YouTube or major websites have, they are very lengthy, and you might not understand it. So that's what I was telling, that I would advise you use CMS, because we have um, platforms and tools for you to create and develop your websites. But of course, as what I say, HTML is the fundamental of the World Wide Web, so it is a must for you to understand this. All right, so I'm gonna close this as we go along um, with our demonstration. Okay, so what if I want to change the background color of my web page? So um, um, the thing that you have to do is you have to add an attribute. So in every tag, there is actually an attribute, and it serves a certain purpose. So the attribute BG color for body defines or indicates what the background color of your page should be. So you have to include a space after the main tag. Then this is your attribute, this one, BG color. And then you have to include or you have to code in equal sign and quotation marks. So you can nominate your preferred color, perhaps. The computer reads our human language. So if I save this and I refresh my page, okay, because I put a space, this should work. I'll try another color. So I think I actually updated my browser just a while ago. That's why there might be some confusion with my code because I just updated it a while ago. But let me see. Let me try another color. Okay. Um, let's try a color picker. Since it doesn't work, let's try a color picker. So every color actually has its specific hexadecimal color. It is a combination of, it is alphanumeric. It could be a combination of numbers and letters. So I'm gonna try if it works. If not, then it was my mistake to update my browser because it doesn't read my code anymore. Let us check. All right, so it was my mistake for um, updating my browser, but we can skip on that and we can do some remedy later on. So let us proceed instead to customizing our font. So say for example in Hello World, um, say for example I want to change the color of my font. So the default color is black. So what if I want to change it into another color, say for example, red. All right, let me check once again. Let me see if some of the codes would work. All right, I'm gonna do this again. All right, that's it. Okay, it now works. So I think I have too many open. Um, I have opened a lot of source codes. That is why it doesn't work. So let's go back. Okay, my apologies for that. Um, so as you can see, for the content that is Hello World, um, there is a tag that is font. And so the font tag actually customizes the appearance of your text. So say for example, the attribute for font is color, and I nominated its value that is red. So as you can see in the HTML document, the text turned into red. So it is a must that such content must be closed by a closing tag. So only those between these tags will be affected by what you indicated in the code. Okay, so say for example, to put it clearly, say for example, I'm gonna add another text like the text that I'm gonna include is this is my first HTML. So I'm gonna my attribute for this is let's say blue. Okay, and then I'm gonna refresh our page or our project. So as you can see, only those with the opening and closing tags um, that you included. So only hello world in between these two tags have the font color red. So only such text will be turned into color red. While the following text with this is my first HTML um, um, has the blue attributes or value attributes for the font color. These are the only parts, or these are the only contents that will have the color blue. So let me check if my BG color will work this time. So say for example, I want to change my white background because the default page color for an HTML file is white. So say for example, I'm gonna change it into black. Let me see if um, my updating of browser actually didn't affect, but it was just actually some clumsiness of me a while ago for opening too many source code. So yeah, it still works. So updating my browser is not an issue, but rather it's my clumsiness. Okay, so as you can see, my attribute BG color actually changes the background. The default color was white, and so I changed it and I coded it that it must appear into black. Now, I would like to emphasize once again, we have this color picker if you are into Adobe Photoshop or even Instagram for stories, right? There is a color picker. Um, so during our time, there was no color picker. So we would go to Adobe Photoshop to get a certain color, the certain hexadecimal color. So once you search for color picker in your search engine, there is already an application ready for you to know what is the equivalent hexadecimal color, because of course some colors cannot be read by the machine or by the computer. It might not read pink or orange or yellow green once you put it or once you indicate it in your code. So the value of the color hexadecimal must be indicated instead. So you can hover the color, which exact color you like. So say for example, I like this color. I think this is turquoise or this is teal. I'm not sure. So I could not, of course, if I write um, teal here as a color and I save it and I refresh our page, it does read. It is still red, but what I want is this exact color, right? So you can include your the exact hexadecimal value for such. Okay. Now, what if let's go back to font. So what if I want to change the font of Hello World, because I don't like Times New Roman, because the default font for um, for an HTML page is Times New Roman. That is so old and that is so classic. I want it to be more friendly to the eyes. So how do I do that when I already have an existing font tag? So is there a need for me to create another font tag for me to change um, the font of this? The answer is no. You don't have to create another font tag, but rather you have to include it in the original font tag. So how do you do that? You put a space, and then the attribute for that is face. And then once again, you follow it with an equal sign and quotation marks. And then you write or you code in your font. Um, my favorite font is Century Gothic, so that's what um, I included or I indicated. So as you can see now, my hello world changed. And is there a need for you to to partner it with another closing tag, since we have two attributes? We have color red and the face attribute, which is Century Gothic. The answer is no, since you already have one um, opening tag for such, then you need not, or you don't have to include another closing tag for font. Okay, as you can see, what is affected um, by your customized tags do not affect what follows, for as long as there is a closing tag that separates them. Okay, so say for example, I deleted this closing tag. So you would see that the color did not change because I have another font for the color attribute, but um, the font face or the font style is still Century Gothic. It is for the reason that I didn't, I don't have a closing tag for such. Okay, now what if I want to change my background into an image? Okay, so we have to delete the BG color um, attribute, and we have to change the attribute into background, and we have to locate the image that we have to include here in our tag for our background to also change. So there are two ways. The first one is we have to locate our image. So a while ago, I already have downloaded my image. Okay, so I'm just copy this folder and I paste this in my folder inside the public. So there are two ways for you to change your, or to include your image. The first one is to locate the picture and right click on it, and you click on the properties. Then you just copy this location, or this is the path, and then you have to include it in your attribute value. Then you have to include the file name. So the file name is background image, and also you have to check which what kind of format the picture is. So you can check on that in the properties once again, and as you can see, the type of file is .png. Okay, so it is a must that you include the file name and the file format for this. Okay, so as you can see now, the background of my image or of my HTML has changed into an image. Okay, that is not a color, but rather that is an image, because that is my picture. Okay, so as easy as that. So another thing, or another way for you, is to actually open this file into your browser. For me, I'll just drag it in my tabs, and then I just have to copy this directly, the one in the address bar. Then you include that in your attribute value. So there are a lot of tags. Say for example, you want your text to move So the tag for that is marquee. So as you can see, my text is already moving because there is a special code for such. Say for example, I want to change the background color of my marquee or of the line where um, it is running. So say for example, I'm gonna change it to black. So as you can see now, the background has changed to black. Okay, so there are actually a lot, really a lot of tags, and I would recommend that you go to w3schools.com. So in W3 schools, they have tutorials, they have the complete list of tags that can be included in your web page. If you also want to learn aside from HTML, then you can check on this. So earlier, well, actually, I was practicing. I created my own web page just using HTML. Um, Let me locate it and let me share it to you. I think this is the one. Let me check. I think this is the one. So yeah, since as I mentioned, I work for the ICT here in Region 7 and Region 8. I'm currently based in Cebu. So I created a sort of our website or our web page, and you can play. And if you know the basics already, then you can move on to injecting JavaScript and CSS or cascading style sheet in your web page. So for this one, for this page, this is purely HTML with JavaScript and CSS. I didn't use CMS or those like WordPress. This is not a WordPress site. This is not a content management system site. If you could see, there are drop-down menus, and um, that is actually activated. So this is my sample web page that I did just a while ago. So yeah, we don't have that much time, I believe, but I want to continue, but we are limited by the time. Although you can actually for the complete tutorial, no, you can actually go to my channel for you to learn this this coding. It is really fun, especially that you can see what you coded immediately. You can run it immediately. It is very flexible. It is fun. Um, you can include pictures. You can include videos in your page. So I think I can give back the floor to Nick and Joy. Maybe we can entertain some questions.
Hi, Joshua.
Yes, Joy. Do we have questions?
Yes, I'm actually looking for the questions on our Facebook Live. So, guys, does anybody have questions? So feel free to type them in the comments section on Facebook or in the chat box here in Zoom.
So maybe Joy, while waiting, maybe I can include in the code on how to include an image, perhaps, while
Yes.
waiting for them. Yeah. All right. So our tag for if you want to include a picture, our tag for that is img. And the attribute for that is src, and the same thing for your background image. No, you can include your picture by going to the properties of such file. So perhaps I go back to um, where my images are, and I want to include the Philippine flag. Then you just have to you can drag it to your browser, or you can right click and open its properties. Then you copy the path that is written in your address bar of your browser. Then you just have to paste it, and so let's go back to our project. So now we have the image that we wanted, that we included or that we embedded. So you can actually modify the size. You have there are attributes for the height and the width of your images. So you
Actually,
can.
Josh, that's one of the questions from our viewers. So, what's the attribute to resize the font and image? So, quick ru- can you run through it very quickly?
Right. For the font, so for the font, let's go back to font. Like for hello world, simply the tag for that is size. So you can nominate the value of any digit. It is also the same with what you see in any word processing document like Microsoft Word. No, it is also the same size. Say for example, I um, maybe to highlight it, perhaps 50. So as you would see, or as you would notice in our font for Hello World, it changed to the size that is 50. And as you can notice that this is my first HTML, was not affected because there is a closing font tag for such. Okay. For the picture, I believe the attribute is height and width, simply height and width. And it is also in pixels. So yeah, the attributes for image is height and width. So as you see, I changed the value of the attribute height into 120, so it became smaller this time. What if I change it into 40? So it is now smaller, and the value of this is in pixels. So if you might ask if our tags are case sensitive, the answer is no. Whether you put everything into in all capital letters or in all lowercase letters, it doesn't affect the codes. The code will still run as it is. But what is case sensitive is our elements, those that we want to um, be displayed in our page. So say for example, I turn my hello world into everything lowercase. So um, it did change our casing. Okay, what if I change my font tag into all capital letters? Will it change the color blue? The answer is we are waiting for it to run. So it did not. It did not change. So once again, the tags or the codes are not case sensitive, only the element contents.
So, we have one question pa, Josh. So, why must we name the public folder public? Meron bang private folder na i-create later on, or won't it work kung ibang folder name?
Yeah, it is there is there. there is no other folder that will be created that must be in private, but it is actually a standard for all for the HTML to use the public folder because say for example, okay, this one. Say for example, I'm creating another HTML file. Say for example, I'm gonna create an about us page. Okay, so let me just copy this, but I'm gonna delete the content. Say for example, this page is intended for about us. No, in all websites now we have an about us page, and I'm gonna save it into an about us HTML. So say for example, I want to create a hyperlink for my image. So once I click the Philippine flag picture, it will lead into another page. So in this case, the About Us page. So the tag for that is A, while the attribute is href. That means it is a hyperlink. So once it is in the public folder, you just have to um, you just have to define or include in the href attribute the file name, okay, of your of your HTML, of your another document. So if we hover into the Philippine flag, the cursor will change into something like pointing, no, because it means that there is an active content for such. So once I clicked it, or I clicked on it, it goes to the About Us page. And as you can see, in the source code, I don't need to, I did not need to include the path, unlike the pictures, no? Diba? In the picture, the complete path um, is included. But since it is already in the parent folder, which is the public, so there is no need for me to include the entire path because automatically what is included in the public folder, the computer and the browser reads it that it is by default inside such folder. Okay, that is the point of our public folder. But with the question, if there is a private folder that you have to create after, there is none, only the public.
I see. Thank you so much for that, Josh. By the way, we still have one last question. So, what is the use of head and then the slash head?
Okay, so the head is actually this tag can actually um, change the appearance of your of this bar. So and also the logo, as you can see, for this example, this is the W3 schools website, right? And you can see that the icon or the logo on top is changed or is customized to its logo. So you can actually also customize the icon of your page by customizing it in the head tag. Okay, so let me see the source code for this. So yeah, um, basically those on top is what the head tag defines or customizes joy.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Any other questions, Joy, from our viewers on Facebook?
That's it, Nick and Josh.
Yeah, once again, thank you, Joshua. I'm pretty sure there are some of our viewers that would be interested to continue learning how to code. I believe you have videos on YouTube that can help them out. So don't forget to check out Tech Talks with Pambansang IT Guy on YouTube. While Rice isn't on YouTube yet, we are on Facebook at facebook.com/upgrade to Rice. Visit our website at rice.ph for more information on how to upgrade your connection.
Thanks, Nick. So, are you ready for our trivia game? So, I'm sure you are getting your fingers ready. So, same mechanics. So, the first one to comment on the Facebook video will get some rice goodies. So, here's the question. What does Joshua aim to eliminate? So, the main reason he's posting his how-to videos on YouTube. So, come on, guys. Comment your answers on on our Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Joy and Nick, can I stop sharing now, or
Yeah,
you
sure.
Sure,
understand?
sure.
All right.
Thanks, Josh.
While waiting for the answers from our Facebook Live, come on, guys.
Come on, type in your answers, guys.
Okay. Do we have our winner, Nanik?
Are we allowed to join, Joy?
Pwede lang eh. Ano kayang rice dito? Christmas basket ba to? Dahil Christmas is approaching na. So, we have a winner. So, the correct answer is cyberphobia. So, congratulations. So, we will get in touch with you later for more details on the delivery of your prize. So, one of our representative from Rice will get in touch with you. So, he or she can coordinate with you on the delivery details.
Thanks, Joy. For those who weren't quick enough to win the trivia prize, here's another chance for you to take something home. We fully support Joshua as he aims to educate many people, especially when it comes to technology. As such, we will be giving away 1 month premium access to LinkedIn Learning to give the lucky winner an opportunity to further his or her knowledge in his or her topic of choice. All you have to do is, aside from coding, what else are you interested to learn more about and why? We'll be publishing a Facebook challenge on our Facebook page. So please post your submission as a reply to that post. Use the hashtag Rice12 Days of Christmas. You have until the end of the year to send in your responses. We'll be waiting.
Thanks, Nick. So, Josh, did you want anything else to promote before we go?
All right. So
Josh?
some shameless plug, Joy and Nick.
Sure, no worries, Josh. Go
Inviting
ahead.
Yes, I'm inviting everyone to check on my YouTube channel, that is Tech Talks with Pambansang IT Guy. If you feel bitten, and I know you are bitten with this session, because of course you can learn HTML overnight or just by one session alone, then you can head on to my YouTube channel and my Facebook account for you to learn some techie stuff. And I'm also willing to if you have some questions, then you can actually go to my video comment section, and you can put it there, and I am more than willing to answer. So thank you very much, Nick and Joy, and of course,
Thanks, Josh.
Rice.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you for your time, and we'll make sure to catch your YouTube channel.
Yes. Thank you so much, Josh. So, guys, please follow on Josh social media pages, and then I think that's it. So that wraps up the Crack the Code: A Beginner's Guide to HTML Coding. So thank you so much to Joshua, and thanks to everyone here for joining day 8 of the Rise 12 Days of Christmas. So we still have one more session this week. So a session I am very excited about. So join us as the Midnight Chef Enzo Singson teaches us some holiday recipes. So it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
I'm so
thank you so
excited.
much, guys. Bye
Right.
now. Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. Bye.